Social media, as we once knew it, is now dead. If you've been creating videos or content on social media like you have been for the last 10 years, and recently you've realized that actually they're not working as hard as they once did, in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly why that is. But to be able to do that, I've got to give you some context, okay? And this context starts in the form of a short story that stems on the 4th of February, 2004, because that's when social media started to really grow. Mark Zuckerberg finally launched Facebook in its early stage. The purpose at the time wasn't necessarily to connect people all over the world and to have this amass and saturation of content like it is today. It was actually to connect Harvard students together. It was more of a directory of sorts as opposed to a find your friends, follow, consume content, get shown ads, which we'll dive into in a little bit. But the social element of what we know as social media today didn't really kick off until 2007 when Justin Rosenstein, or Rosenstein, one of those, joined Facebook in 2007. He was basically brought in as what's called a technical lead who is in charge of manufacturing and building the Facebook like button, which launched on February the 9th, 2009. As soon as it launched, it gave the consumer, i.e. yourself and myself who actively consume content, the ability to dictate who they engage with, to share and support, to engage, to reciprocate value, to share that actually you are enjoying this stuff and you're giving feedback to the creator of that content. And that's really what stemmed social media, the Facebook like button. Now this like button was pretty much popularized by Twitter when they implemented it into a one-click follow system, and I think that was back in 2011. So what Twitter basically did is allowed the consumer to have all of the control. And by that I mean they gave you the power to dictate who you consumed content from. Anybody outside of your immediate followers in your network you didn't really consume. So people all over the other side of the planet you never really heard of before because you were in your little bubble, in your little tribe, in your little community of people that you had followed and connected with. This is where social media became social in every sense of the word. But this is really where the problem of social media, as we once knew it, really started, because from a tech or a SaaS company perspective, they've got to earn money, they've got to earn profit. They're not just here to build a community and let people connect and make friends for fun. They've got to earn money, they've got to earn profit, right? So the problem was, as the tech founder of the lead operators of those businesses, how do we earn money from human connection? How do we monetize what we've built here in terms of a networking or a directory of people or a big group of followers? How do we earn money from them? The very quick way to earn money from monetizing a community is to display adverts on the side. Just how old Google web pages used to display ads on the side. You used to have an advertising space for sponsorships. If you even just go through the Daily Mail or the Guardian here in the UK or whatever you have in the US, you will see ads littered on the digital feed. Then the game changed pretty quickly, where TikTok introduced the FYP, or the For You page. Now, this algorithm changed the entire landscape of social media forever back in 2017. I don't know what they did, and I can't be bothered to research it, but whatever they did, it left you and I stuck and glued to our phones for hours and hours and hours a day. Based on what you engaged with and what you dwelled on, what you stayed consuming, they built these big data pools around you and your persona, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you were interested in, what made you curious, what made you angry to the point that you were so agitated you left a comment, and they displayed the content to you that kept you the most hooked. Every platform very quickly adopted the FYP, or the For You page algorithm, because the longer you stay on the platform, well, the more adverts they can show and the more money that they can make. This was great for the shareholders, the investors, and the founders of these big tech giant social media apps, because the more money they made, the more dividends they had, and you could go and buy a bigger house or a bigger yacht to flex on. The crazy thing is that this algorithm really worked, to the point that Gen Zs today spend an average of between 7 to 9 hours a day glued to their phones. That's insane. And this isn't content that is consumed by family and friends and people that you choose to consume content from. This is content that you are consuming at a peak dopamine level, gambling-like addiction, to try and get more excitement and trying to get more pleasure and positivity from the content that you consume. And it's that gambling-like scroll, but you don't really know what's coming up next, but you stick around to hope that you're gonna get that sense of euphoria and that eureka moment and that dopamine high that just fuels your brain with great hormones and great feelings. That's the end to the very short story. Just to give you context before I dive into what I'm about to say now, which is, well, how does this tool relate to that you're creating content to market your business or to build your personal brand or to promote your products and services? But it feels like whatever you're doing doesn't work as hard as it once did. That's what I'm about to dive into. This very short, black and white, unemotional, candid answer is that What once worked doesn't work now. But so many people stick to it. They do what's always been done. The definition of insanity is that you do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. And the same thing is happening with social media and content creation and video and carousels and design and all the rest of it. It is now no longer enough to just create a nice piece of content that looks pretty and aesthetically pleasing, to post it and to hope that the right people see it. Back in the day, we had creators, especially from like the OG days of YouTube, we had people like Alfie Days, Joe Thatcher, Zoella, the OG vloggers, creating 45-minute videos of their life, their day-to-day stuff. It was like the fly on the wall situation that kind of naturally found the right people. But nowadays, just creating nice content that shows what you're doing and is happy and positive doesn't work. It's completely broken. The whole strategy around it just is no longer a thing. So you can't replicate what these bigger creators once did now because the whole system doesn't work anymore. Looking at some of the OG creators on YouTube or other platforms, for example, but let's take like Alfie Days, for example, a very good early days vlogger on YouTube, reaching 9 million views, generally speaking, on a video like this.
Let me just try 2.
1. Okay. Oh, do you reckon?
But I haven't done multiple since I did gymnastics when I was younger.
Where we are now, 2025, creating the same content, the same style, the same sort of titles, tags, descriptions, packaging, thumbnails, structure, pace, everything in between, but getting significantly less results, 300,000 views on average now. Here's the example. Zoella is another fantastic creator. At least she was back in the early days when she was creating videos that got 7 million views, just like this.
2015 is the year for change, and I'm gonna make that change today, and I'm gonna cut my hair. And I'm gonna cut it.
You're not gonna cut it.
I'm not cutting it. I've got to say, I'm really excited.
Nowadays, again, the same content, the same structure, the same pace, the same value, that fly on the wall vlog style, 45-minute, 30-minute pieces of content, really long form, are getting 600,000 views. Here's an example.
Good afternoon, everybody. You join me in the veg patch, and I have just been planting some sweet corn.
Now look, I'm taking examples here from some of the best, some of the OGs with millions and millions of subscribers who once reached millions of views are now getting high hundreds of thousands, which is still an achievement in and of itself. But comparatively speaking to their network size and what they used to get, the performance has massively dwindled. And it's proof in the pudding that the content that once worked, even 5 years ago, is broken today. You can't win with it. It doesn't work like that anymore. In my opinion, creators, yourself, if you run your own business, if you're a marketing person, if you're running ads, or if you're just trying to build your personal brand, you have to have a very different approach now. If you're a smaller creator nowadays, the barrier to entry is so much harder. It's not just about creating a nice looking video that promotes yourself or builds your personal brand or markets your business. You've got to understand human psychology. You've got to understand the analytics. You've got to understand the science behind what you create, almost more so than the content itself, i.e. the ideas that you come up with. Are they aligned with the pains, problems, dreams, and desires of your audience? The scripts of your videos, how do you structure them in a way that hold people's attention with pattern interrupts and structural techniques included in them? Even down to the way that you deliver, which is called your delivery system, the way that you deliver your content, the pace, the presentation skills, the personality, the energy on camera. How do you almost manufacture that to a degree that holds people's attention so that you are a likable, friendly, warming character on the internet? Even down to things like the packaging of your content, the thumbnails. How do you create something that's clickable? Mr. Beast has recently done a test where actually if you show your teeth in your thumbnails, the percentage difference just comparing to a normal smile is a decrease. We're getting at that level of granular specificity now, where a smile makes the difference in performance. It's absolutely insane. Categorically speaking, you now need to create content that people are interested in. It's not enough just to create something that you think is fun or you want to spread your message and you want to get yourself out there. It doesn't work like that anymore. You've got to create stuff that people are inherently, they love to consume. And that is more about human psychology as it is about content creation. This is why you may have now heard of the term interest media. I'm not sure who coined this conversation, but I totally unconditionally agree with it. We've gone from the days of social media where you as the consumer could dictate who you followed and who you consumed content from, and you could connect with family and friends and see what people are up to in your local area, what holidays your friends have been on, and to a degree you can still kind of see that now. But more days it's around, what are you interested in? What is the data points that these big social giants have got from you so they can display more relevant, interested content that you want to consume, so they can display more ads, they can earn more money, and they can get more profit? That's kind of what it's turned into. It is no longer social, okay? You rarely get updates nowadays in terms of what your friends or what your family are up to, or people checking in on Facebook. I'm not even sure if people do that. Maybe my mum does. I don't know. Now you go onto a social feed at a kind of gambling-esque approach, and you don't really know what you're going to consume. It's just very random. You scroll through YouTube and it's all these, recommended videos based on what you've watched previously. The problem is we are now in a world where everything is manufactured for maximum attention, maximum clickability, click-through rates, really getting the views and the impressions and the engagement up. Everything is now something you want to consume. This means that we are in a space where it has never been more competitive. Every video you want to click on, every thumbnail has been designed beautifully. The titles have been optimized for search in the most perfect way. The tags and the descriptions of this content, the chapters that have been put into them, they are all so well done that for someone who's new to content and new to social media or just creating stuff on the internet, it's really overwhelming and actually quite isolating because you don't want to jump in because people are already doing better than you. So you're probably thinking now, okay, so what's the new approach? Well, the new approach is you have to create stuff that people are interested in, okay? You have to understand human psychology, not just a video idea, but genuinely what people are so curious about, what really agitates them, what causes anger, what makes them excited, what gives them that moment of euphoria, like they have to click on this thing. What are their pains, what are their problems, what are their dreams? What are their desires? What do they want to aspire to be like? How can you motivate them? How can you inspire them? How can you create this positive experience for people? Even down to things like how do you agitate people? How do you create content that is so curiosity evoking that people have to click to find out what happens next? I can 100% tell you for fact, it is no longer enough to make pretty videos on the internet. You have to, nowadays, manufacture to a degree and engineer to a degree content that makes people click. And that's really hard. It's a real skill set there. And for those of you that run your own business or the professionals in this audience who are now thinking, well, how does this affect my business? This now also opens up the conversation of, well, I don't think social media or interest media is enough anymore. If you run a business, if you are doing this professionally to market your products and services, like I've said throughout this video, it's not enough now to just post and have potentially leads and warm people just consume your stuff. You've got to do something more than just get them interested on social media. For example, I now pretty much steer all of my warm viewers, those of you watching who maybe want to learn how to create videos and those sorts of things, click the first line in the description and you join a newsletter, you get a free workshop, you get a free download. It's my lead magnet that helps to nurture you and bring you into my ecosystem, one that I own. Because I don't own you on YouTube. YouTube can go under, the algorithm can change. I don't own this audience, but actually bringing people to a database, getting people's email information, getting people onto that next stage in the funnel, that nurture stage where you're educating and you're warming people up and you're making people problem aware and solution aware around what you offer, it's a non-negotiable to do that now. It's not enough to post on social. You've got to drive people to the next stage that feels naturally progressive. But again, if you want to find out how I've done it, you can click the first line in the description, get a 35 free video workshop to get you started on all the basics, all the techniques, all the tools, everything that you could ever need to be able to create professional looking videos yourself for free. Go and check it out. The way that I would now describe social media in its current state, it is not social media. It is more of a tool to build your brand and to build your professional credibility. And yes, you've still got that social angle, especially for younger generation who are just there to connect with friends, and you've got Snapchat and Snapchat stories and Instagram stories. You can still stay up to date to a degree with what people are doing. But it's more about building yourself up. It's more about steering people to the next natural step, to giving away things for free, to building your legacy, to building your reputation. That's where I see it now. It's more of a tool for business as it is opposed to just having fun and seeing what people are up to. The reason that I do emails and that I encourage you to also do emails on top of your social media content and really crafting better looking and better performing videos for your business is because through email, you kind of reintroduce the follow button, which has been lost for so many years on social media. People choose to consume content from you. They are opting in to entering your ecosystem and entering your world, just like the early days and the OG state of YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram when the consumers controlled the power. They controlled and dictated who they consume content from. Email is the same. You're just turning it from fleeting moments of attention on social/interest media, and you're now owning the audience. They are deciding to come into your world. That's really important. And that helps you as a business owner or as someone who does their own thing and that helps you professionally to nurture your audience, to teach them the ways that you do things, to instill your mindset and your outlook and your perception on things, how you look at the world optically. You start to emotionally resonate with people. You drive that problem solution, how do I solve my problem scenario to the point that you generate leads and actually get new customers and get cash in the bank for your business. That's what it's all about, in my opinion anyway, okay? So again, social media is no longer about social, it's about solving. And the best way that I can describe this is it's not about thinking, oh, what do I post? What can I create? It's about what problems do my audience have? What problems do they need solving and how can I fix that? How can I offer a solution to them that's going to position me as the go-to expert in my industry or in my niche? So if you felt stuck posting into the void of social media and it's not working hard like it once did, don't beat yourself up. Okay, algorithms change, social media platforms change so quickly, but where we are now, there's a really big opportunity to innovate and adapt. I'm Jack, and I've created videos for over a decade, and my goal with my YouTube channel is to help you become a much more confident video creator without the guesswork, the going around in circles, and that feeling of isolation. So, a few ways that you can do that. First, you can click this video right here to go and master your LinkedIn, which I recommend to anybody who's marketing themselves or building a business. And two, you can click that subscribe button to join the channel. I post videos like this every single week. Join the channel, join the creators here. I still don't know what to call you guys, but I'm gonna call you creators. See you next week, creators.